Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my video. So for anyone new to my channel, my main side project is building my personal website into almost like an operating system in the browser. And haven't made a video for the last few months kind of talking about some of the features I've done and things I've added. So I want to make this video and kind of just go over those highlight real features that I've added. So yeah, let's just jump right in. So my website is dustinbrett.com, and the operating system, as I like to call it, is called daedalOS. It's on GitHub as well, also called daedalOS on GitHub, and it's pretty popular on there. And I'm doing updates to it all the time, as you can see here, 3,600 commits, which is quite a bit. I've been working on it for about 3 years now. But yeah, let's just get right into the features here. So one of the features that I have on my desktop environment website is if you open up the start menu here, you can open up a browser, and it's kind of a fake browser, kind of real. A few things work. One of the cool things that works, actually the first thing I'll show here, kind of out of order from what I had on my list, is that in the browser you can open up my site again, and I've added a feature now where it detects that it's inside of itself, and the wallpaper will kind of change to an almost like Inception style. So you see here the waves wallpaper turns into like a wireframe effect when it's inside itself. Or if we refresh the page here, let's change the wallpaper to my slideshow of my personal photos. Now when we open up the browser and go to my page, it's my photos, but they're inverted. So everything looks like it's kind of inverted, and then every 15 seconds it will change to an inverted version of my photos. And the way that I'm doing the photos, actually, just in the public folder under pictures, I have a little thing called slideshow.json that has the list of all the files that'll go through in my slideshow. And those are all just connected to my real photos that are here, like my travel photos or just photos of myself. And as you can see here, like that's a picture of me in the Louvre, but it's inverted. And in the background here is the Australia one. So those are kind of neat. What other inverted ones I have? I have the Matrix wallpaper. But if we open up the browser again and go to the thing, you'll see now it's reversed. So in the normal one, the code goes down, but in the inverse one, in the Inception world, it goes up. We can keep it open here and do another one. If we switch to 3D, the text is coming to us, but in the other one, it goes away. And I feel like I had one more. I think for the APOD, it works as well. The astronomy photo of the day. Yeah, it inverts that as well, although it kind of looks a little weird for that one. I think that was about it for those. Yeah, those were all the ones I had for inverted. So now that we're in the browser, too, by the way, what we'll do here, the next thing I wanted to show is there's kind of an Easter egg in Chrome where when you're offline, you can play like a little dinosaur game. And I have it here as well where you can type Chrome / dino, or I have it in the little bookmark bar here where you can just click it. And if you press enter, you'll get the game basically. And it works on mobile as well. Like on mobile, it'll say tap instead of press space. And if I press space, I can play the Chrome Dino game, just like how it is on like the real Chrome kind of. And this is essentially an open source game. I can show the source code here after I do an amazing speed run. I don't really have a high score, so I don't know how well I'll do here, but it's actually kind of a fun game. It's a little addicting. I've already played it. Oh, there we go. So I got 202. Not amazing, not too bad. And that one, the one that I'm using is called T-Rex Runner. It's pretty popular as well. It's chromedino.com as well. And they have different variations that are kind of cool as well. So I thought that was kind of neat. And one day when I eventually have an offline version of my site, I may even just like make that the default in the browser app that it opens the Chrome Dino, because I thought that was a fun one. So what is the next thing I have on my list? Another cool feature I've added, we'll close Chrome Dino here. Let's say we open up the videos folder. Let's go to pictures because we were just talking about pictures. So we'll go to one of my wedding pictures here. You'll see here what I've added. If we pick this one, we right click and press properties. I already had a properties dialog, but now I've added a details tab. And if you click the details, it'll actually load information from something called MediaType.js, which is here. Sorry, MediaInfo.js. And this MediaInfo is actually running in WebAssembly and is able to detect all sorts of different information inside metadata of files. So in this case, it knew a little bit about the image. But the image example, the reason I go to it is because I've also got another thing called EXIF data, EXIF data. And in this case, with this image, I don't have EXIF data, but I'll drag on an example image here. So there's an example image I just dragged on from my actual operating system, because my website has drag and drop support. And when this one has EXIF data, so now if I right click and go properties and I say details, you'll see here we get a lot more information. We get the EXIF data here And at the bottom here, we still have the data from the media info. But the EXIF data is a lot more rich. So it'll tell you it was a Nikon E4600. It was edited in Adobe Photoshop. And I even have it display the thumbnail data, which is kind of cool because that's actually a different image embedded in the metadata of the image. So it's kind of a neat little thing that you might not know otherwise, but I've added it here into the details tab, which is just another detail that I've added. And speaking of details, I'm going to switch back to the Waves wallpaper. So if you right click on the desktop at any point, you can open up a terminal. You can do it from anywhere, really. You can open it up from any folder. You can say open a terminal here and it'll open directly in that folder. There's also the terminal app in the start menu. So I've done a couple of upgrades to the terminal. Before, it could already run WebAssembly packages from a tool called WAPM. As an example one here, I have a tool called Pi, and Pi is one of the tools I don't have. So what I'll do is I'll run Pi, WAPM Pi. We'll run it the first time just to get like the output. So this will essentially download a WebAssembly file from a WebAssembly package directory online, and then can run it in my terminal. So it'll tell you here, this program computes the nth decimal. So we'll run it again, and we'll say like 8 or whatever, and it'll tell the decimal basically of pi. So that's kind of cool. And I actually had to fix that recently because it got broken. But what I've added, several things. So now if you go to the system folder, you'll see here in the system folder, it actually downloads the pi.wasm file. So anything that's run in the WAPM directory where it gets a new WASM file, it will automatically put it in the system folder. And the reason why that's important is I've added the system folder almost kind of like what in Windows they call the path, where places that when you're in the command prompt or in a terminal, it'll look in those folders for associated commands. So in this case, pi.wasm. So now in the terminal, I can just type pi, and right away it'll do it. So now like pi is basically installed kind of. So if I were to come back later and just type pi without the WAPM directory, it'll still work because it's already in there like a WASM file. And I've added quite a few custom WASM files. So ones like fortune, which will give you like these different fortunes, almost like a fortune cookie. And I've also added like flags that you can do. So I think it's help. Is it H? Here we go. So you can actually use it just like a real terminal. And these are like real WebAssembly files that were compiled from Rust programming languages, actually source code. So let's say for fortune, we can say we want a short one. Oh, short. Let me type it correctly. Still didn't type it correctly. I'll get it. There we go. So you see here now we'll always get a short one. So here gets to the next cool feature that I've added, and this is kind of all building up to this, is the idea of what's called piping. Basically, so now that actually I should put, I'll say one more example is that let's do another app I have called cowsay. So you can say cowsay and you can say hi or whatever. You can just say any text in there that you put, text. So now with piping, what we can do, if we go back to a fortune, is I can put the little pipe symbol, and then I can pipe that into cowsay, and then now we get the cowsay in the fortune, which is kind of cool. And then a really cool extra WASM that I've found is called lolcat. So we can also pipe the cowsay pipe of the fortune to the lolcat, and then you can have colorful terminals. And all of these can also have flags as well. So if we go to cowsay and we do help, we can see it's got a ton of commands. Some of the cool ones are like you can do like custom cows. So we can say tux, and it'll do tux the penguin. So we could have it be tux the penguin with the fortune, the short one. And then for lolcat, what we can do is we can change the frequency to be 1, and then you get almost like a rainbow effect. And you can even switch it to be like a show on the background. And lolcat also has its help as well, where you can kind of get the information. So I basically started to like put Rust command line tools through WebAssembly that can run and be piped into each other. And this can work for other things too. So like all my other commands, like let's say ls to look at the directories, that can be piped into like, let's say lolcat. And then we can have a directory that's like colorful, which is kind of cool. And that can even be like, I have Python built in here. So we can say Python 1+1. And it'll download PyOdata. It takes a second to download. There we go. So now it'll run fast. So then you could pipe that into cowsay, your Python response, and colorful it up a bit. There we go. And you get like a little colorful cow in your terminal telling you your Python output. So that was pretty fun one, I thought. There's 2 more things I wanted to show. I've showed this in my previous video, but I'm pretty proud of it, and I didn't really talk about it as a separate feature. but it's the idea of the search here. So you see now beside the start button, we also have a search button. And if you're in the start menu and you just start typing, it'll also search as well. So if I type you see it'll just start typing, or start searching, sorry. So if I say Dustin, you can see it will find all the things with Dustin in them, and it'll do a little preview on the right here. And if you click the arrow, you can change the preview to be other things. And I've tried to keep this very consistent with like the Windows one. And it's got all the same information and functionality as far as like clicking these things, doing what you'd expect, opening folders, that kind of thing. And the search is pretty cool. It's like a client-side search. So when you first initially go to search, it kind of downloads this larger index file. So then after that initial kind of download, it's extremely fast to search, faster than most sites you'd find online, because I've already pre-built the index, given it to you, and then you're just kind of able to kind of filter through it almost. So that's kind of something cool, I thought. And I've done a lot of advanced upgrades to search, because I had search before, like at the top right here, but I've kind of improved it a little bit. And then there's only one other little minor thing. It's not really a low note or anything, but it's not as cool as some of the other features. So in Monaco here, let's open up Monaco. Actually, if you right-click on the desktop and you go View Page Source, it'll download the index file. Now, one thing that I noticed that happened a long time ago is that this index file can't be formatted. There's a little format button here from Prettier, but the Prettier plugin can't format this markup because of the way my markup is, it's correct markup, but Prettier just can't work with it properly. So if I press it, before it used to do nothing, or you used to see nothing. Now when you press it, you'll see you get a little pop-up telling you what the error is, basically. And if it were to work, and if I press save, it'll give you the save notifications. So I basically just got some like toast notifications from Monaco, but it's kind of a step further into building my IDE, my integrated development environment, where I integrate the terminal in here and the ability to run all this WASM stuff in code. So it's a step in the right direction, basically. But yeah, that's just about it. So I'll keep the video short. Thanks for checking out all the new features of my website / project. If you like this video, please throw me a like. And if you want to motivate me and keep track of what I'm doing, then subscribe. So that's about it. And thank you, and see you in the next one.